This conference will now be recorded.
So in this session, we are going to make an integration to get latest live data for affecting country for coronavirus pandemic. We'll see the live data for how many new confirmed cases, what is the total confirmed cases, each country wise, what is the new death, what is the total death till now, what is the new recovered cases, what is the total recovered, and we will see in the end what is the total number of affecting cases we have based on the category of death, category of new cases, category of recovered. So let's see how we are going to integrate this Salesforce with some API calls to get this latest data. And for this APIs, I'll share the link of this Postman, like Postman giving some APIs which give me the live data. If you see, I'll share this link with you to access this Postman documentation. So what different kind of API is given, REST API. So now if you see, there are API calls like default, summary, countries, day one, like this many things. So I'm going to implement one API out of this, which called summary, nothing but to get complete summary of all countries who are affected with coronavirus with their count of cases, count of deaths, count of recovered till now. And with this integration we are making from the lightning component. So from the lightning component we are calling this API and then getting the data to display here. So how this is going to happen? So simply if you see any live corona information, so in the Google, if I go and I type corona live update, so I'll get many sites. Out of that one site, if you take worldmeters.info coronavirus, so now you can see how the data they are going to display here. They made some charts, historical charts. Then in a table format, they are showing all countries, their cases, new cases, total death, new death, total recovered, completely all these kind of things. So now we have implemented similar kind of thing. And if you want to implement some kind of chart, or you want to keep the historical data for your historical reporting a trend, that you can do. But primary part is that how I am going to get this live data from somewhere else to my Salesforce database, okay, or to my Salesforce. So this data is not with us, it's from different data sources we're getting. And for me, the API is given by the Postman giving this API which they have posted in the COVID19 API.com. From this API call we're making to get the data. From the database we're fetching the data which are live update, and then we're displaying that in the Salesforce. So how we're doing. So summary, if you want to get the summary of Corona COVID-19 pandemic affected countries, then simply we can make this API call. I'll show you how I am going to make this REST API call to get all the details. So this is nothing but a summary of new and total cases per country updated daily wise. Same way, if you want to see any API call, you can pick and you can choose to implement. If you want to see the live by country and status, so returns all live cases by case type and country. If you want, you can invoke this API call. Or if you want to get all data, so you can return, you can use this API call, which will return like this the responses. And the moment I'm going to implement the summary, I'm going to make this API call of REST GET call, and with HTTP GET call, I'm going to get the response of this. In the response, it's going to show the country of array, each country and their informations. We can see each country, their new confirmed cases, total confirmed case, new death, total death, new recovered, total recovered. Like this, you can see all the informations for each country as given here. So we can check that how we are going to use it or not. Okay. So parallelly, if you see two part, we'll see. First part in this session completely, I'm going to talk how I am going to integrate to get latest update for COVID-19 by country, and same way I'm going to show these latest informations in my lightning component. So I'll develop a lightning component or lightning page. So there I will display all data. So if you see here, this is my complete lightning page where we have fetched live data of corona and virus pandemic affected countries. So how I'm going to integrate and how I'm going to show you. So how we can make API call from lightning component, and then once API call happened, nothing but how the integration mechanism set up between my Salesforce and COVID-19 database to get data. Then once we get, then how I'm going to display here. To do that, as I said, I have one API call which nothing but COVID-19 API.com/summary. I have to make call to this get request. So which is going to give me summary of new total case per country updated with this format. If you see this, my data for each country coming as like this. My country slog, new confirmed cases, total confirmed case, new death, new recovered, total recovered. How I am going to assess this. To take this one, what I'm going to do, let me show you the class what we have here. I'll come one by one. So to track each of these cases, let me open in developer console. So I'll show you here. Okay. So what I'm going to do here, I have developed one class whose name I have given as public class COVID manager. Okay, so as I said, I'm going to use this in lightning component. So I have created the method with name as aura enabled. Okay, so in aura enabled, what I'm going to do, I'm going to make a HTTP call. Okay, I'll break this, what is going to happen. So I don't want this. Okay, so now I first point what is the endpoint I want to call. Like in all my previous session, if you see, I'm defining what is my endpoint to invoke. So that endpoint I'm writing here. For this COVID-19 data to get, my endpoint is https API COVID-19 API.com summary. From where I got it, if you see from this Postman data, I got this is my endpoint to make a call. This is my API, I have to make a call. So this is my endpoint I just took here and I kept here simply. Okay, so first point, let's set my endpoint. I have given my class name as get COVID-19 summary, and this is my endpoint. So now, if you see this Postman documentation, I'm saying, okay, there is a method should be get. So this is going to make a get call to get the data, summary data for affecting countries with this API call. So now, what I need to do, I have to make my get HTTP call. And in the previous session, as I said, when you want to make HTTP call, you have to instantiate my HTTP class, then build the request, nothing but with help of HTTP request class. Okay, then you have to set in what format you want data, which nothing but your set header. I want as a JSON data, because if you see the data what I am going to get, it's in the form of JSON. So JSON data, and in the same way, what I want to set what is my get method, nothing but here it is a get. Okay, then I will make a call to my send method. So this is the for 5 steps we have to make at least to get to make a get call or to invoke my API request. So as for that, first I instantiate my HTTP class, which nothing but my instantiation happen here. Instantiation of HTTP. So in the HTTP, what I want, I have to build the request which I will send to my endpoint. Then endpoint give response. So to build the request, I made HTTP request class instantiated with the object name or instance name as req1 new HTTP request. So it is nothing but I'm building my HTTP request here. So same way, I want in this API calls what we have, they don't need any authentication. So I don't want to pass any access token or username or password, anything. Directly, I can make a call to this API and can get data. To do that, what I'm going to do, the data what I'm going to send or going to get, what type of content type. My content type is the form of JSON. So simply I build what is my content type here. nothing but we can see set header as JSON. So request, in the request I'm setting the header as a content type of JSON. Okay, so now CMI, what data is going to accept in which method? It's a HTTP get method. So I am setting request dot set method as get. Okay, so simply you can follow this code line by line, and I hope though in the previous session you understood how I am going to integrate between Salesforce to other systems. As it's a REST calls, so simply it's a get method. So I am going to set method as get here, and then to which endpoint I'm calling? I'm calling to the endpoint what I have taken as a string here, that I configured as a set endpoint. Simply I wrote here endpoint. So after I have all this data, next what I'm going to do, I build the request, I build what is my request header, I build what request method I'm going to call, and to which endpoint I want to call. Then I have to invoke my API call. My API call, nothing but I have to call my send method. So HTTP object h1 dot send, I am passing my request. So as a send, it's taking my HTTP request object, I pass it, and I make API call. Now this send method calls to my COVID-19 API with a get method to get response. Once this send method return me something, return the response. So where am I going to store it? I am going to store it in the response. So then I build my response. Okay, so in the response what I'm going to get, if my call is success, I'm going to get response something like this. Okay, if you see here complete response, let me show you. For each country, it's an array of countries I'm going to get. So each country is one element, you can see so I have all 199 countries data I'm going to get here. Okay, so now I'm going to store this country information. How? For this, I'm going to create a wrapper class. So simply to say the response what I'm going to get. So taking these responses, I'm creating a wrapper class. Okay. So in the wrapper class, what I'm going to do? If you see, I'm going to give each element or each element what we getting in the response for each country, I will create as one variable like country slog, new cases, total cases, new date, total death, new recovered, total recovered. Each going to be one variable for me in my wrapper class, and then we'll see how I'm going to set it up. So now see, I create a wrapper class COVID-19 country summary. Okay, as this is I am going to use in the lightning component, so I have marked it as aura enable. So each element I create as a string type of country slog, new confirmed, total confirmed, new death, total death, new recover, total recovered. All are nothing but my variables what is there here. Okay, so now once I get response, I have to build this as a list of collection. So my response is going to be list of country summary, which I'll display on my lightning component. So now what I'm going to do here, so once I got this response here, let me show you here. Once I got the response here, then it's going to give me JSON response. All the response is in the JSON format. As it's in the JSON format, I'm going to parse it. So what I'll do here for parsing, see, I use the JSON parser. This is also I have explained in my previous sessions. You can see that. So JSON parser, I'm creating from the response body what I'm going to get in response. I'm going to parse it using my JSON create parser. So it's I create parser of it. Then I'm doing looping to get each country name. Okay, so if parser get current token is the start of array, let me show you. It's completely array of elements. So you have, okay, if it's a starting of array, parser get current token if starting of array, then I will go inside. Then I will take what is my next token, and next token start object. Okay, so I'm taking that, and each one I'm creating my wrapper object here for COVID-19 country summary. and from the parser I'm reading this as my class. So nothing but I'm you can say I'm just serializing it in the class format. So this one is going to give me complete this class structure. Okay, so then what I'm doing, then I want to show the total data. So if you see, I just to take each country data here and added in my list. If you see, I'm adding in the list COVID-19 summary list, each country data I'm adding as one element or one record in my list collection. So this is nothing but building my each country data, and then that data I'm adding in the collection. So now after I got all collections, I'm looping on that to take the total count. So if you see here on this one, this data what I'm going to get, here it's showing each country wise data. Here nothing shows the total number of cases for all countries or total number of deaths for all countries. And to take the total count, what I'm going to do here, I just see what are the country wise summary data I got, then I'm looping on that country wise summary data, then I'm just summing up all data to get the total count. And then forcefully I'm building one more summary data of title as total world total, like each country. So in the end I'm going to show you world total. Let me show you here. So here world total, it's going to show the summation of all. So this sum I have taken here. Okay, if you want you can do in the JavaScript controller, but I just prefer to do in the Apex class everything and set the data here. So simply I just shown here world total. So now what I'm going to do here, so from the parser I have parsed to each country data, I read value as my class type, and then that class record or my wrapper record I added on my wrapper collection, which I need to return. So now after I have all the collections, I loop on each collection, then I sum it up to make it total count. So new total confirmed how much, new confirmed how much, total confirmed how much, new death total how much, total death total how much, new recover total and total recover total. Just I sum up with all country data, then that data I just shown, I just added in my wrapper list, which I am returning from this method. Okay, you see COVID-19 summary added my total data here, and what are the responses I have received from the API call. I passed that and I added here. So what you need to do in the sum, you have to make a HTTP call of get method, then you get the response. From the response you just parse it with using JSON dot to create parser. Then you go to each token of the JSON data, and then as for the structure, if you see we have this array of objects started here from. Let me show you that. See, it's called data. It's starting up array. From array, I'm taking each element and converting to class type, class record type, or class object, class instance type. So for that, what I did here, let me show you here. So I parse to each token. I'm looking on the each token. When I got a array starting, then I took parser dot token not null. Then I took the start object, and from that start element, I converted that to my wrapper class type, COVID-19 summary class, this type, where automatically my each field value will be set by the JSON class. Okay, so that all elements are added on my list collection. COVID-19 summary is nothing but my list collection here. You can see here list of wrapper collection I added. Then I loop on each country data and I converted, I counted to my total sum. Then I just set here my COVID-19 summary here. Then I return it. So this is a small class which is going to return me the data completely. So if I want to make a call to this before implementing my Lightning component or anything, if I want to call from my anonymous window, how it's going to happen? If you see, I just make a call here. I just click execute manager. So how this is going to be here? Okay, I just made the static. So let me call here execute highlighted. So now if I show you the log file, how am I going to get data? You can see here. See, in the response body, I got completely countries, then each country data. Then I made the total sum. So countries log, new confirmed cases, new death case, new recovered cases, total confirmed. I sum up and everything I added in my collection, which I'm going to return. You can see each as one class elements. So now, okay, I understood from this class, I'm successfully able to make a call to my get method, which defined on this endpoint, and I am going to get response. Now next part, how I am going to show this response on my lightning component. To do that, what I'm going to do, so finally I want some kind of output to like this. So I am going to, let me show you here. I am going to get my country, my confirm cases, total confirm, new death in a tabular format to show what response I got. We can do more user interface changes, styling we can do, but as a rough, I just shown what we can do quickly. So now I'm going to create a lightning component to show the responses what I'm going to get or what I got from API call as a tabular format here. To do that, I have created one component or COVID-19 info component. This is my complete component here. So I am using the controller as COVID manager, nothing but which class I have defined here. You can see this is my controller class is Aura enabled, and the elements what I want, everything I made as Aura enabled. You can see here. So now I made controller COVID manager, then implements I just use all interfaces. I can use this in record page, app page, or home page, wherever I want. So I am going to show this as a collection of record. Each row you can think as a record, collection of records on this page. It's nothing but list type, list collection. So I developed or I wrote one attribute, type as list, name as COVID-19 country summary list. All the summary country summary collection I'm just going to store here. Then what are the columns I want to display, like country, new confirmed, total confirmed, new death, total death, new recovered, total recovered. What are the columns I want? For that I develop a attribute, my column list. Okay, so if you want to spinner, you can use show spinner as a here as a default value false, and I'm going to use completely data table. Let me show you the use of data table. I want to show the response data from my API call as a data table. So I'm just going to here to display my data table. So I just took the basic data table. So for data table to display, I have to define two things: what data I want to display, and from the data, what are the columns I want to display. So for that, I have defined two attributes. One, nothing but the collection of data what I have, or attribute, type as list, and name as my collection name. Same way, I have defined one attribute, nothing but the list of columns what I want to display. Okay, so now then to get the data, I need to make API call. So how I'll do it? So now if you see this page, the moment I'm loading this page, just now I'm refreshing this page. If you see it's refreshing, the moment I'm loading this page, I want to make a API call and get the latest data and load here. To do that, what I'm going to do here? So on init event of my lightning component, I want to make a call to my API call. I want to make API call. So for that, what I did here, I have written my system event call here, or handler, name equal to init. So on initialization of my component, I want to make a call to get the data from my API call. So then I went to my controller. In the controller, first I defined what are the columns I want to display. So you can see the columns, nothing but was an attribute for me here, or attribute my columns. So I can display a table with the two column, or table with, let me draw it and explain it. So let's consider I can display a table with two column, or with 4 columns, or maybe 5 columns. So what are these column names? From where I'll get it? So I have to define some here. Then this my column, what I have written here, so I have to set the column names. So for that I have written here what are my column names. If you see here, my column names, my column label, my column, all columns what I want to show, I define here. So what is my column attribute? I'm going to set all labels or all type of values what I want to show here. This is nothing but for this is you can get more detail on my lightning session. So now you see component dot set to be my column, label as country, field name, what type of data I want to display. So like this, I can define all of my columns what I want. So on this case, I'm displaying country, new confirmed, total confirmed, new death, total death, new recovered, total recovered. If you see the data, what I am showing here, same column what you see here. Okay, so now I have to make a call to my API to get the response or to get the data. So that API call I have specified on my controller class to get COVID-19 summary. That means to get the data, to make API call and to get data from component, I should make this action call, or this action should be invoked. So now if you see from controller, what I did, I'm defining my action to get my server side call, to invoke my server side method, to invoke my Apex method. So var action component dot get my Apex class method name, get COVID-19 summary, and I made that component action is nothing but my Apex method. Now this method doesn't need any parameters, nothing parameter need. So we have kept it as empty. Action dot set parameter, I just wrote it as empty. If you want, you can remove it. Then once then we did the enqueue actions. My action initiated and processed. So once we get the response, then in the set callback, we have defined what is the response I'm going to get. Response state, is it success or failure? If it is success, then in the return, what I'm going to get value, nothing but in the return, I'm going to get collection of COVID-19 country summary, list collection data, which I can store on my attribute of type list as COVID country summary list. So now you see here component dot set. If my response is success, I am going to set attribute COVID-19 country summary list with a value of the responses what I get in return. Okay, and if you was using spinner, you can set now show spinner make false. So this much thing we did, which going to give me data to display here simply. So we wrote a lightning data table. So what data I want to display? If you see the lightning data table in lightning component or Aura component, you see the specifications here. So to show the data and column, we have two attributes. One nothing but we call as data, the array or collection of data to be displayed on the table. So this collection of data we have built on my API call get COVID-19 summary, and it's returning me a list of collection data, and that collection data I am setting up in my Aura attribute, and that Aura attribute I am going to use here as a collection. And in the table, what are the columns we want to display, that we define with the attribute called columns. Array of the column object which going to use to define with their properties to display as a column header or columns. So that we display simply here you can see my columns, all my columns we have set here. Based on that column and data what I have, I am going to display my column and data as a lightning data table. It's a very basic data table what we have written. If you want to customize more on it, like you want to have a dynamic search, if you want to have a setting, you can do, or we can play around with this lightning concepts. But I'm more focusing on the integration here. So simply to integrate, we just from lightning component, we have written a Apex class. From that Apex class, from this Apex class, I have one method. Inside that method or enabled method, inside that method I made a API call. Then this method we invoked from my JavaScript controller simply as a normal action calling. Then we got the response. That response we are going to show here. So now what we did, once we have this component, I want to display somewhere. So what I do here, this component, if you want, you can use as a home page or record page or lightning page, wherever you want, you can display. For me, what I did, I am going to a app builder. I'll show you what I'm going to do here. Simply, I'm going to develop a lightning page. I just go to my setup. Let me open the setup of Salesforce to show you. Here I'm going to my app builder. Just simply search app builder here. Lightning app builder. So in the lightning app builder, I can if you want, you can create a page. Already I have created a page, but I'm going to show you with a new page. I click on the new page here. I'm going to create the page like this. Let me copy this also. Okay. So now I want to create a new page of what page? I want to create a page of app page. So I just select app page. What I want to show, COVID-19 summary. I just click on the next. How I want one region page. I click finish. So now in this, what I want to use my component. Simply I drag my component here and I left here. Okay, and in the same time I want to display some kind of context, like how I am displaying some kind of text here. To do that, simply I'm going to my standard components. I'm taking up the rich text component. I'm leaving on top of this. So here I can modify what I want to display. So simply I can write here what I want to display. Okay, now let me save it. Once I save, I will activate this page to make it visible for users. As it's a new page, I'm clicking on activate. Once I activate, let's say what the name of app you want to give. I want to give name as COVID-19 summary. I want to activate for all users. And do you want to use some icon? Yes, I want to see some icons. Let me see some kind of suitable icons now. Okay, let's take this icon. Any icon you can use. I'm just taking this insect. It's a virus insect. I'm taking this icon. Let's click on the save. Okay, so if you see the page setting we did, we saved it. Now if I go and open this page, what is going to happen? Am I going to get the live data for this corona pandemic or not? So now I'm in my app launcher, simply going to search COVID-19 summary, the page what I built newly. Just select this. Now my new page is being loaded here. So now see the data. Now on the initialization of the component, my server calls happen. Now based on the server call, we are going to get a response, and that response will show here as lightning data table. So nothing but the data table what we have built here. This data table going to give us the data. Okay, and this nothing but this data we are going to get from the server side call to my get method of the endpoint given here. And if you want to configure any other APIs, simply you can use this API calls. All the API calls are given. You can use all these things and you can make call. Let's say you want to get day one total, returns all cases by case type by country from the past recorded case. Okay, or I want by country. So you want a country name to pass and you will get data. Returns all cases by case type for a country. Okay, like you can do whatever you want, you can do. So now see, yeah, I'm in the COVID-19 summary page. So my API call return me all the data. So if I want to search, let's consider China. In China, we have total today's new case is 1002, sorry, 102, and we have 81,999 total confirmed case, and new death is 3, and total confirmed death is 3,299. Recovered is today 380, and total recovered is 75,100. Now, if you see USA, United, okay, let me see. Let me show the India. If India, total today's case is 100, total confirmed case is 987, Today's death is 4. Total death is 24. Total today recovered 11. Total recovered 84. If you see United Arab Emirates, today's case is 63. Total 468. Today no death. Total death is 2. No new recovery. Total recovery 52. Okay. Let me, if you anything you want, you can build this lightning page to make a more robust search, but simply I just display everything here. Okay, let me go to see any name you can see. Let's I want to show the name as Italy. See, Italy, today's case is 5,974 new cases, total 92,472. Today's death is 889, and total death is 10,023. So complete details you can see here. So what country you want, you can see everything here. All 198 country are listed out here. But I want to search United Kingdom. See the United Kingdom cases. How much cases are there? So it's a very simple logic to make a API call to get the latest live information of corona pandemic, which affected to countries, like by the country wise. What are the country summary, country status right now, the live data to get it. To that, we just simply make API call with this class, and we got the complete details. There are many API calls we have, which we can use to build different statistics data. So if you want, you can try this API, all API listed URL I will give to you. You can try this, and you can see how we are going to further. Okay, thank you.